Look at us, the esteemed leaders of each of these great nations.
We are also here to produce a draft of a provisional statement regarding the present crisis. We should not forget that.
It is important to say what we mean.
Yes, of course.
People look to us to provide clarity.
I wanted to start, if I may, with the director's statement, which I think is the best director's statement I've ever read.
I don't remember
I
it.
don't remember anything about this director's statement. So,
Are you kidding?
We wrote it probably just as we were finishing the movie, and that's a long time ago to us now. So yeah, but yeah, I'm glad you like it. I don't know what we said though.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Should I remind you of what you said?
Yeah. But yeah.
Compelled by the looming doomsdays with which we have become too familiar, seduced by the eschatological sinuosities inscribed provocatively across our sulphur-clotted skies, with nothing but hopelessness to console ourselves, and with our chill-blasted souls much in need of the warmth sometimes only nostalgia can provide, we directors have turned our despairing attentions, rosary beads chattering like teeth in our skeletal fingers, to the quaint old customs of diplomacy, namely the G7.
Okay.
Oh, I remember that now.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Unforgettable.
And I just wondered, having now seen the film, and obviously this isn't going to be the case, I could see you all in your D3 gazebo in a deep thought montage coming up with your director's statement.
Yeah, I mean, that the movie pretty much gives you the writing process of of what we do. Yeah,
It is the movie itself is a fairly accurate depiction of what it's like when we're working together in various ways.
Writing a script or even writing a statement. Yeah, we have to go wander around in a forest for a while and our naps and
we do, we
forage for food.
We do. There are moments, just like in the movie, there are moments where we achieve a kind of delusional, smug self-satisfaction. And there are moments when we suggest the worst ideas anybody's ever had.
there are moments where we try suicide.
Yeah, like it's all accurate.
I get pretty despairing. I also have never come across a procrastination pit stop that I found myself
able to resist.
Yeah. I'm always the one leading the procrastination
And
suggestions.
you fall asleep from time to time. Also.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I admit it.
I was wondering actually how much of you all inhabited all your characters. So, when you came to, well, actually, let's go back a little bit. So I thought for the listeners of the podcast, if you could go back to where the idea came from, was it truly from biblical despair that you decided to write the film, or was it just because the G7's really funny?
The latter. It was we had been watching G7. We'd been sitting together writing for a long time and watching G7. Every time the G7 summit would happen, we would tune in to just watch.
It was a procrastination pit.
Yeah, it was just to avoid work, and we just found it the clips really funny and entertaining. Especially when they're presented without commentary. And YouTube certain news channels will upload like raw footage, just 25 minutes of just a long lens camera shooting G7 footage from a distance, and you can't hear what they're saying. And we just found that stuff endlessly enticing. And then G7 subplots started worming their way into the scripts we were writing. And then a script would get too bloated, and we would, with ideas, and we would just throw it out and start again. And then same thing would happen. We'd write another script, it would get too bloated, but the G7 would be in there again until we decided to just dispense with everything else and admit that what we really wanted to do was write a G7 movie. That's sort of it.
Tell me about coming up with the characters. Did you all collectively write each character, or did one of you have a particular baby like Maxim, or did you write, are they all amalgams of all of your worst qualities and best qualities?
Thank you. Maxim was written because for the actor Roy Dupuis. We'd worked with him in our previous feature, The Forbidden Room, and we felt we knew him. We knew his strengths. And Evan did all the dialogue. Once the three of us sort of, if such as the story's timbers are, we'd assemble them, and then Evan would go back and write this dialogue. And he really he's an excellent mimic, and he just knows how Roy can best perform this part, and the dialogue just came out. So that character is just simply based on Roy. maybe the Italian leader was based on a barista we know here in Winnipeg, and even named after him, Tony Lamorte. And at one point, we even expected him to act in the movie, but then we're lucky we found Rolando Ravello. I would say maybe, and there's plenty of deniability for this, but Evan probably's strongest affinity is for the French leader. French leaders have this one thing in common. They're allowed by voters in France to be intellectuals. I think if an American presidential candidate manifested intellectuality, they would be defeated in the election, soundly drubbed. You'd be, described.
Yes, quoting poetry would just finish his career.
Whereas, I think Evan has mentioned over the years much delight in showing us clips of Macron et al. And going way back. So leaders in the 70s even, they're just allowed to be this way. And there's just a different species of hubris among French leaders. And so, I don't know, that seemed to be something Evan was really zeroing in, and maybe even the compelling reason for writing this character.
What happened?
I believe we are in a crisis.
We already knew that. Why are you covered in mud?
It was the buddies on the ground.
And it attacked you?
What were they then? Terrorists? They loomed threatening me.
Protesters.
That's what I thought to at first.
And Denis Ménochet, of course, brings such an Hergé quality to the role, I thought.
He's a genius, that guy.
He's just a flat out genius. Yeah, he really does the work. Do you know that it's just a minor thing in the script? It's toward the end that it's revealed that he's proposing Western Europe's largest sundial, but he researched and then wrote an essay on sundials to prep for the project, and he's a beautiful writer, and it was a really compelling essay. We're practically inspired to build one now.
Yes.
But
I loved the build up to the fact where they revealed that it is a sundial. You think, what's it going to be? There were some beautiful moments like that, like with the whole theme of regret. And then the Japanese Prime Minister says he regrets not being able to ride a horse, which just absolutely floored me. But
you'd think there's a lot of regrets on the table for a leader of a nation state. You'd think there, a lot of historical atrocities you could go to. But I guess that was one of the earliest jokes too that made, I think, or ideas that made us think about the funny disjunction we had here between like the personal and between politicians as humans and politicians as powerful figures, which the movie sort of, I guess it's trying to mine the tension of it, not necessarily sharply, but sort of like comically or in a way that condemns them to some kind of prison.
They don't even seem to question for a second what kind of regret is being
no, it's all personal.
Yeah, it's like you mean regret like national regret, or no, it's just. And
even Antonio, who is the closest to having a historical regret, he almost regrets Mussolini, but he doesn't. He regrets dressing up like Mussolini.
Yes.
Figuring it out, but.
And of course, like Charles Dance as the American president, and I couldn't help thinking, was that a kind of Canadian backhand at the years of abuse you've had from Americans, taking the mickey out of you, just to literally not even include an American at all?
There was a satisfying
aspect
of the casting that we didn't realize. I don't think it was like conscious until we were breaking down. We're like, oh, there's no we don't have any Americans in this movie.
Yeah, I remember thinking that's really stupid from a marketing
point exactly.
of view. Really. Good luck to Bleecker Street, our American distributors, promoting this thing. But when even the American president's a British character.
It's something like that. It wasn't so much a backhand at America as a feeling that we needed some new angle on the American president, a figure who's been depicted in cinema just so many hundreds of times, and we thought we found a fresh angle by making him British, I guess.
I thought maybe for the American release you could overdub it with like Arnold Schwarzenegger or someone.
Exactly. Someone
with a German
an
accent.
authentic,
Something apocalyptic has occurred. It's the dark ending our species deserves. I understand you're upset. Run!
And also, I loved, Guy, the animated tabloid headline or lead page that you did.
Yeah, Galen did that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. We're sort of vertically integrated in-house. We could do the entire movie ourselves and all of its promotion if we needed to. And we worked with Bleecker Street with some promotional materials, and finally Galen just made that and sent it to them, and they liked it. So
it's great. And I just love the headline where it says, if it's Kate Blanchett and Nikki Amuka-Bird, the answer is yes. And
yeah, I mean, I just looked at a few 1970s soap opera digest covers, and I just lifted basically wholesale statements off of that and just put our characters' names in there.
But it is perfect for those two actors, you know, and it is just literally like they brought so much to the party.
Yeah, they're great.
They did.
So yeah, tell me about working with them and casting them.
Nikki really, I'll let you talk about Kate Blanchett, but I'll just mention Nikki. I had a quick Zoom conversation with her, and she was really curious about how to make plausible a person who looks like her, namely her race, a political leader in England. It's getting a little more plausible now, but she was really concerned about how she would look and act and talk. Excuse me. And she just did the research. She she watched interviews with Black women, members of parliament and things like that, and found their bearing. And I think she really brought a certain amount of sort of desexualized officiousness to the role. It was really beautiful.
Well, Nikki's really linguistically gifted, I think.
Yes.
Like as a speaker, like
she can say really complicated lines.
Really complicated lines very quickly without blinking over and over and over again, in a way that made it fun. I don't know. It's very fun to just feed her gobbledygook.
Super challenging. Super challenging.
She could
stuff.
just then race through. It's quite something to see.
Well, there's that sequence where she and Kate are talking about just theorizing that it may be a sexual entrapment chatbot, where they're just really unfurling sentence after sentence of geopolitical speak. And
Kate is Kate. You know, you've heard about her. She was sort of like the bedrock of the. I don't know. She has a way of making everyone feel
comfortable,
feel like we can do this.
Yeah.
Like it's
okay.
Like
they're in a real movie.
Yeah. And like it's okay that we're doing this. And
that's
and also she's a kind of, well, I don't know. There's a lot that's been said about her, and all of the good things are true. Like she is a type of screen presence that I was aware of as a viewer, but I'm aware of on a whole different level now as a director, just
an
like
editor,
just like you do three takes with her, and you have three wildly different options that contain so much nuance, and sometimes the opposite of nuance, which is what you want sometimes in a comic performance, just like really funny sledgehammer looks and stuff like that.
And I love the look, the sort of three-way look between her and Nikki and Maxim, you know, like TV melodrama moments, you know, and she can do it all and just pitch perfect.
Yeah, she's like one of the great comedian performers in the world. I just love her doing that. I just think
I actually was present once when someone said, "You've never really done comedy before, have you?" And I'm going, "What are you talking?" It's like she's one of the great comedians on the planet, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Tara is brilliantly funny.
Yeah,
but I guess people don't mean the movie's not a comedy. Like,
no,
so that's
but she
done Wes Anderson, and the documentary Now, things she's done are flat out comedies, and she's hilarious in them.
But she can bring in so much. It's like a switch. She can turn a switch too. Like I remember shooting and thinking like, well, this scene's dead. I mean, but like I was thinking on the page, this scene, how are we going to even do this? And then you would do Kate's close up, and suddenly the intense, like even though it's a comic scene, the intensity would just be ratcheted up. And she can just turn that stuff on. I don't know how.
Yeah, because she's not ridiculous.
No, she's not.
She's needy and she's a full woman, but it's full of pathos and just sheer humanity. It is an absolute joy.
I love strong women. I love them too much.
I do tend to get a little caught up in the dramatics.
Germany caught up into dramatics. We've seen this before.
I want to talk to you about your cinematography, because this is a really, really funny film, but it's also a joy to behold on screen. It is just gorgeous. And all your homage pieces to silent era films and B movies. I mean, it was just such a joy to watch. So yeah, tell me about what were your favorite scenes? What were your sort of favorite sort of like homage scenes?
I don't know if it's an homage to anything. It feels like it's an homage to an idea. But I just like the way the brain sits in the forest thinking, just sitting on a nice bed of ground cover, and just thinking its little ancient thoughts. And who knows where it's from, but it looks proper. It feels iconic to me.
Were there brain hugging moments? Did everyone have to hug the brain?
It was slimy. So
yeah, it was covered in like flame jelly.
Yeah, so it was not fun to rub up against. No. Well, many things are fun to rub up against.
Yes,
we know.
But this one was dangerous. Well, it had two slime coatings. It had the non-inflammable, flammable, to misuse the word, the non-combustible gel for for appearances, and for Alicia Vikander to embrace, and that would be. I guess it's like a giant glazed donut or something like that. I'd like to embrace that. But once it got the dangerous gel on it, no one was going near it, or anything like that.
My favorite scene cinematographically is there's a scene where Maxime, the Canadian Prime Minister, carries.
That's mine.
Yeah, that's the right one. That's the correct one.
Yeah,
that's just one where the directors finally pulled up our socks and figured a scene out visually, like, because a lot of the movies,
it's the whole scene.
7-part dialogue. It's hard to impose yourself with the right camera sinuosities with 7-part dialogue to use.
Yeah, like Kurosawa did it with Seven Samurai on a 130-day shoot.
Yeah,
but we had 23 days.
But this because it was a 2-person scene and kind of a physically strange one. We were, I think, able to come up with a shooting conceit that really captured the feeling we wanted in it.
Yeah, a woozy, floating feeling for Denis Ménochet, and then a
up nostril
POV shot, and then of course the punchline shot. So
yeah, it was a delight, and also like just being in that forest and the hugeness of the trees and the fogs. I mean, I was thinking of like the Wolfman.
Yeah.
I mean, those are I guess in a vague general universal horror forest thought was there. I have to say and shout out our DOP Stefan Chupek, because it's not easy to light and fog up a forest for that kind of, like, it's a big job. Like, it's just a big industrial job to make enough light to do that, and to get the fog in place and stuff like that.
And he had to tackle it like almost industrially, with big lights. And the forest got so bright. We were shooting toward the light usually, so that it tended to halo the actors and create a sense of some sort of moonlight. It wasn't a power blackout, so there could be actual street lamps in the movie if we wanted them to be. But the forest got so bright on the non-backlit side that the birds would wake up at 3 a.m. and think it was dawn and start chirping. It was really uncanny at 3, 4 a.m. in a chilly Hungarian forest to hear the little birdie thing like an early summer day,
Det är en svart storm som nalkas.
She can only speak gibberish.
Bäraren av deras budskap.
Swedish. She's just speaking Swedish.
Why do people have to go and see this film in a cinema? In your opinion?
Well, we're not going to pass a law about it, but my opinion that comedies are more than big spectacle movies, because everyone has big TVs now. Comedies are movies that are most important to see with an audience, maybe along with horror, because you need to get caught up in a group reaction.
You need to feel the room.
I just think it's really important. And
you need to feel
this movie's always played well to me with a nice big audience, and when I watch it at home alone, I guess it's fine. It's good. It's a different feeling. It feels kind of more dreamlike or something.
And I'm a little bit terrified how it would play with a typical, like even the best movies get sparse attendance on a matinee or something. How the movie would play if there were just 3 or 4 people in the theater, which happens all the time. But I guess it's out of our control now.
I suspect they would bond over it.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Sydney just laughs. Yeah, yeah. Walk out at the same time.
Did you want to hug that brain? I did too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Picture House podcast today, and just really good luck with this fantastic film. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. That was a wonderful, warm little podcast moment that we just had together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Picture House Cinema's unique video content. Hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date with our movie news, cast and crew interviews, highlights, trailers, and lots more.